So critical infrastructures such as cybersecurity is on the rise. As you know, there are data centers that have been impacted by security risks, cybersecurity risks. So, we'll kick this off with our panelists here. We have Anthony Lim.
Hello.
Alvin Rodrigues, a fellow cybersecurity expert as well. And we have Mr. Srini Rao from BDX Singapore. Welcome, gentlemen, to our topic on cybersecurity.
Thank you.
So, looking at the rise in threats we have with critical infrastructure, even data centers in the last couple of years. So, should there be heightened concern about cybersecurity in data centers?
Well, in my opinion, yeah, of course. Because when you think about it, data center is the integral part about running a business. It does your data backup. It drives your business. It looks at business continuity. And if data center goes down, your business goes down. And especially more so today than in the past, because it's such an integral part of our digital world, our digital lifestyle. So definitely.
Yeah, like you said, data centers today are an essential part of the digital infrastructure. And be it an individual or an enterprise or even the government or in financial institutions, you find the data is resident there. And therefore it's, it's obvious that there are going to be a lot of threats against it. And being paranoid, and cyber attacks, cybersecurity cannot be overstated in this case.
Right, I've got 3 reasons why cybersecurity for data centers are very important today. Number 1, data centers are a relatively new thing. 10 years ago, there was no data centers. So it's still like on the runway. How do we secure this thing? Number 2, cybersecurity has to be brought to the front. What do I mean? When you build a data center, there's a lot of other security, physical security, and extra power lines, cooling, temperature, extra internet lines. But what about the cyber part? Number 3, hackers are attacking critical infrastructure today. They like to attack OT. We had cases where hackers attack a data center and play around with the cooling and cause the other problems. You can imagine, okay, if they attack the cooling in the data center.
But that's not all. If you think about it from a broader perspective, when you look at many of the digital business today, they either look at data centers as an environment whereby they load their applications, that means they use it as a platform as a service, or they own the data centers and they also load the applications. Either ways, when you think about it, when a cyber criminal is thinking about attacking, where do you think houses your customer database? Where do you think houses your intellectual property? Hackers are looking at these platforms to infiltrate into that, to steal this critical information, or worse still, to manipulate them so that they can create havoc for the organization.
Great sharing, guys. Moving on to the next question. How does cybersecurity strategy align with data center business objectives? Mr. Srini, do you want to kick that off?
Yeah, if you look at it, right, data center, we are the custodian of data, okay? And the data is all for our external for our customers. Any cyber attack affects the data, the personal information, the reputation of the data center operator. So I think, like you mentioned earlier about physical security, network security and all that, but these days, as an operator, cybersecurity is part of our DNA. Okay, when you're designing a data center or when we're acquiring a data center, we're also looking at cyber security as a building block, and because that's how essential it is. And as systems get more complex, you find that the cyber attacks are also getting more complex. So we are also investing in resources. We're investing in training and additional training, getting in external consultants to safeguard the data of our customers and our business.
I'll go first. Well, in the same vein, along the business considerations of cybersecurity for data centers, there's also the governance aspect. So cybersecurity is seen increasingly through the governance requirements of data centers. For example, ISO 27000, for example, SOC2, and just like uptime, you have 99.9%, all the kind of thing. There are also cybersecurity, CSA star, and so on. There are other considerations for certifications and frameworks that ensure, the cybersecurity of the data center.
I want to circle back to your question. You talk about aligning data centers, cybersecurity in the business. And this is something that I'm personally very passionate about because it is a topic that is difficult to address, but it's such a critical part of business. The challenge we have today is that cybersecurity professionals are very focused on the nuts and bolts and on the execution of cybersecurity strategies. They don't necessarily understand how the business runs and how the business operates. And there needs to be a greater awareness among security professionals about the business workflow, the business structure, how does the company reaches the customer, what value does the customer value from the company that motivates them to continue doing business with this customer. If they can get that understanding of their workflow, it will put them in a better light in terms of building a more business-aligned security strategy in the data center.
I just want to add one thing. You talked about uptime and all that. There you can be 99.95%. When it comes to cybersecurity, it has to be 100%.
That's right. You're right. Because the challenge with security professionals is that you need to get it right 100 times. And for the hackers, they need to get it right one time.
No, and I like Alvin's point earlier. And the same as in any other business, and again in critical infrastructure where the OT people are not connected with the IT people, are not connected with the business people, are not connected with the cyber people.
So there needs to be a harmonization. I'm sorry, I don't mean to belay on this point, but there needs to be an awareness and harmonization of that knowledge throughout the organization with the different line of businesses so that there is that appreciation of the challenges and difficulties.
So that begs the question, why is there a disharmonization that exists that's led up to the current state now in the data center industry when it comes to cybersecurity?
I think, can I? Yeah, I think because at the same time you're seeing a lot more new technologies being introduced, like you have 5G, you have IoT. Okay, with all these new things coming in, there are many avenues of how people can get in. Okay, and now you see a lot more of cloud. Okay, and a very traditional data center, you've got to be cloud centric. Okay, and you've got to be very astute of what the other technologies are coming in, which could impede your security or offer a security threat.
I'll come in first. The other reason is this. Again, just like any other line of business, we just build a data center first. We just do digital transformation first. Especially during the pandemic, we just whack. Security come back later. 10 years ago, there were no data centers in Singapore. Today, there are 60 or 70. They just build. Security, I'll get back to you. In digital transformation, we just go into digital transformation. Security, I'll get back to you. You never come back to it. So that is the thing. Business comes first.
Yeah. If you look at it from a broader perspective, it lacks one word: awareness, right? And appreciation. Awareness of the impact of threats on the business when it happens, the repercussion of that, and also the appreciation of the ramification on that to the organization. Because when companies set their businesses up, what is the objective of a company? To deliver a value to the customer and to make money. Nowhere in that equation that says to take the responsibility of safeguarding my customer's database. If you look at any mission statement, it's not stated there. Until that becomes a top-down mandate from the board, from business leaders, that becomes a requirement, cybersecurity will always become a bolt-on strategy as opposed to an integrated strategy.
Or an afterthought or a one step behind. So everybody has cybersecurity in the mind. It's just at the back, not in the front.
Well said. So, talking about trends, AI, right? So as AI become more prevalent in data center operations, you have analytics, you have, all the automation that's happening. So what are the risks associated with AI in data centers?
I don't think there's a risk. Okay, I think AI actually is going to help it better. And why? Why so? Because AI can handle a larger set of data. It can look for anomalies in your data flows, and it can handle multiple complex attacks at the same time. So I think AI is here to make it more secure. I don't think AI is going to be a threat.
Okay, that's within the data center, and I know Alvin's got some other source. I'll save some for him. Outside the data center, the bad guys also use AI. The bad guys also have data analytics. And the problem today is that, okay, AI is a super automation tool. ChatGPT is a super Google. So these accelerate the hackers' learning. These accelerate the hackers' attacks. Therefore, in that manner, it becomes worse.
My thoughts about AI is the same as that about technology. It is a neutral platform. It's like a knife. You can use it to cut meat and to make it more chewable so that you can swallow, or you can kill somebody with it. Same goes for AI. It depends on how you deploy it. But the challenge comes for AI is in the training of the AI. If you do not already have proper process, proper documentation, proper telltale signs of what you define as a threat in your organization, your AI is going to fail you. If you got that clearly defined and you then feed that into the AI engine, you increase your ability to detect. Having said that, to Anthony's point, the hackers will also have the same AI which they're using to attack you. So the thing about AI right now, which I feel very strongly about, which is very much lacking in security, is the willingness to share different telltale signs and scenarios across the board. Industries are doing it. Like the financial sector, they have a financial group that tells them and give them guidance about the anatomy of the attacks, right? But it's not pervasive. It's not across every industry. We need to come together, like how the hackers have come together to share that domain knowledge so that that aggregated information becomes more advanced, but it's not happening with the defender side. We need to come together and work and share as well.
Maybe I'll take his point as Stephanie and Vincent, are you hearing? Maybe WMedia should start a data center CISO fraternity to share threats and ideas.
Shenton, I just want to share a slight joke. Most of the forms you click these days, you have to put a tick saying, I'm not a robot. I can assure you the AI systems we use are a lot more efficient than that.
Right.
That's right.
Right.
Okay, any final thoughts to wrap up the session? Srini, start with you.
No, I think cybersecurity is something which is dear to everybody, and I think we have heard a lot of cases about the data breaches. Okay, and every other month we see about some credit card data being compromised, and I think each one of them is being a step further in the learning. And every time this happens, there are reviews as to how it could have been done better and what went wrong. So I think as ecosystem, I think we become smarter. Yes, like rightly said, Anthony said, the good side and the bad side are using similar tools. So I think we will always ensure that we are ahead of the curve on this game.
All right. The idea for data centers is that, especially it's a relatively new industry, but it's a technology-driven industry, you need to make cybersecurity not only top of mind, but second nature. You need to reach a point where it's not about security anymore, it's about safety. Just like the other physical aspects of the data center. It needs to reach a point of safety, like when you get into a car, when you want to drive off, you automatically put on your seatbelt. Cybersecurity has to reach that level of second nature to your business. Okay, so I think that's my message.
I guess the only thing I'll say about cybersecurity in data centers is this. It all comes down to contextualization. At the end of the day, how you defend your data center is dependent on how you operate your business. How you want to protect your data is how that data is being consumed. So for cybersecurity or for security to be successful in any organization, you have to contextualize your security strategy to the way the business is running and get that mandate from the executive to push that down to the entire organization.
All right. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for your time in covering this extensive topic of cybersecurity and condensing it in this short time frame.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Thank you.
much.